Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. So I'm feeling a little tired this morning. I didn't want to get into any hard problems like actually sorting out the data for this, but I figure if I could make something that could grab a graphviz file and render it, that would be a useful step. Hmm. I mean, I guess JSON's an interesting rendering if you wanted to throw it into something else. So, I know there's this. I think this is the library. See also graphs in JavaScript. Directed, well, I mean, if I wanted to send up like just family data and then have this do the layout. Completely client side, there are great if client side layout is not a requirement for you. I mean, well, I'd still need to get the appropriate family, so it wouldn't really save you much. Rendering agnostic. Hmm. Oh, this actually builds graphviz. Hmm. Oh, it doesn't have the sample. There's a test browser. I may have to look into what they're using for the demo site. So I'd ultimately like this to be sort of a related to this project. Man, the highlight is not doing good work today. But first we want to look at this. We're down here. So can we... Okay, so this is test. Oh, this is like literally the test suite. Okay. Running browser tests. Yes, there's no reference the sample site. HTML-like labels. I don't think I did HTML labels in this. Render SVG element. Then element. Okay, so there's a renderer. As a web worker, using a script tag. So it's, well, we can see if this person has the sample site. Viz UI. Webpack. All right, so this is something we might want to be looking at as an example. You. There's viz.js. What is this called? Viz UI. Oh, am I not in the directory I thought I was in? Oh, nope, I'm down one. I thought I changed back. Oh, hey, look, it's React app. We're just playing around with that. Diff ID root. There must be some webpack going on here to load up the rest of the stuff, because there's no imports or anything. Default source. Ah, okay, yeah, that's an old example. Source, format, engine, show raw output, handle option change, ACE editor. Okay, so we got the header, handle editor change. And it looks like graph is a component. Viz worker URL, viz is new worker. Text element error, render to a string. Render a DOM element. Render SVG element. If the relevant props changed. Change the container. Well, yeah, so I'm normally... So for what I'm doing, I might be able to have this just be a page that renders. Well... What is the scale thing? I mean, that's going to be the ACE editor, I'm almost certain. Options. Can I just like the zoom control thing? It would have to be graph. So is that the browser's SVG viewer? Because I don't see any of that stuff. They look okay. Let me go back to... so... Let's get this as a string. Oop. There are some zoom limits on this, so that's something I'm hoping I can address. So I'd like to get something like this where I can eventually hook up a backend server to it. I need a name search. And then you can more easily show you that. But this thing, I'm not seeing this in the sample code, so I don't know if this is a different, well, there's ACE. Bower components. Oh. Is that part of like our package? No, wrong window. Dependencies, dev dependencies, webpack. No Bower. So this doesn't seem like it's the same project. There's no Bower stuff here. Is this a GitHub page? Doesn't look like a GitHub page. Yeah, so this is something, but it's not what he's actually... Okay, there's split. So what's... It's a canvas library. And you do not like high contrast mode. SVG to canvas. Okay. So that's probably the zoom control. Alright, maybe it could be the zoom control. I mean, I guess that's effectively dragging it around. What about this element specifically? Because that's all the individual details. So div graph, style width. It's part of the split. Okay, options output. SVG output, which apparently has the... Yeah, that's part of the SVG output. SVG pen zoom controls. No data. Wait, where was I seeing? Was it the bottom of the body that loaded all the JavaScript? Oh, yes, indeed. Oh no, SVG pan zoom. It's actually just a library. So what is Fabric doing then? Oh, maybe that's for other things? So hopefully you can adjust the allowed ranges on this. And I put in a really big thing. Yeah, min zoom and max zoom. Okay. That's what we need. So this... Now you see, I've been doing Elm lately. I'm not sure... Well, if I do a thing that can search and update, I would need this. Or I would need some interactivity. But like the rendering and zooming are all going to be... In order to have out-of-the-box stuff. I mean, I could probably figure out how to do all this directly, but it should be largely drop-in. All right, so our thinking is that we will possibly do some sort of conversion of this, but for now, we're just going to have some kind of... Right now, I just kind of got this all dumped in here. So maybe it needs to be a separate project. I might just have like a subdirectory that then functions as a web project. And I might just move some files in there for testing purposes. So if we make dir, I don't know, some UI. And if we assume it's going to have... Is that a command? And then we'll need a new thing. No, not you. New thing. Well, actually, do we even need a server? That lets you load up just a file that returns something. Well, I might need a server in order to get files. I'm actually not sure if you can fetch local files without that or not. So let's grab a sample HTML file. I want to set up for a style. I don't know if style is going to be a big thing here. And we might eventually need some of that. Oh. And that's going to need that. Let's see. I probably might want to reference some other projects to get started. Although a bunch of this is just going to be getting some libraries. Actually, at this stage, I might not even need... Might be just some very simple JavaScript to hook stuff up. We'll have to see. All right, so first we need to render it. I think we don't need the full render. Not sure what ES is. You'll also be, yeah, in public. So that was you. This was PWD output. Public index. Okay, so this is not sure what yet. We're not actually using a style sheet at the moment. We don't have a proper thing at the moment, and this would be our Elm hookup if we do that. Meanwhile, we need to get... So we've got viz.js, which I guess it loads the workers separately. And, well, get that to render something first. So then our sample... So this is a different project. And he must be using a build system to get viz.js. And then we've got yeah, well, this is very compiled. So there's a worker. Some of the editor hookup. Building from source. Running. Maybe the browser tests would be more. Yeah, there's the wiki. Usage as a web worker. Oh no, worker URL is just that. Maybe then this is just the URL to it? Well, okay, we need to have a file to render. And relative to this, it's just going to be light render. Now, so I guess one advantage of just going ahead and sticking a little bit of a app around it is I get Elm's fetch, as if I need to deal with the JavaScript stuff. Well, actually, isn't there the fetch API we should be able to use for now? Instead of doing the full XML request. Okay, this is not high-level usage documentation. Fetch API. Just, yeah, fetch. And then do something. So if we grab some file, Boots is a little big, actually. Might not be a good example. And just put it here for now. Do you have to... Because I heard that there was a thing where you could, like, copy path. But I don't know which modifier it was. Copy as path. Alright, so fetch. I really just need the file name. That's the full path. Oh, complete with string. So first question is, does this work? Successfully compiled. Type basic URL. Body readable stream. Okay, so there's actually a little bit more to this. Return response.json. Fetching a JSON file across the network. JSON method. There's a post. Response.json. What can we do? Response.blob. Headers, response objects, status text. Okay, well, I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back in a few minutes so we can figure out how do you get the text from a response. Oops, I didn't know you could inhibit that. Okay, sure, it's an object on the landscape, really.
So, Peen-kun was always by my side, and because of that, I was able to live out my dream of being a chosen one. I lived as a chosen one alongside the familiar I called a friend.
Then you're saying Peen-kun's real form is...
Yes. Peen-kun is a delusion I myself have created.
Peen-kun is a delusion?
It all makes sense now. It feels natural. Freeing, even. Peen-kun? Now that you know, this existence, the one you call Peen-kun...
Hey, you go into that. Hey. No, not you!
Okay. Gotta go up. Have been in here yet?
Did you see the Krogan scouting out that big remnant boat? What if they get the weapons or something? They could wipe us...
Clean out.
They're never getting inside that thing.
Never. Ever.
¿Todo bien? ¿Se había despertado?
A ver, sí.
Vale, yo lo veo bien.
Vale.
Métete en un arco.
You're in danger, you stupid sons of bitches. I can't stay under that pile. No. No. Oh, he got me. Oh, backpack, Mom. Too late, my child. Run. Run. No. Huh. I wasn't there a second ago. Nothing. Where's it that one?
¿Hay alguien en el punto?
Sí, una fara. Ah, que tiene la skin de... Ah, qué fuerte. Yo quiero esa.
¿Cuál? ¿De qué?
La de Symmetra. La de... Esa es Symmetra Warframe, totalmente. Symmetra Lotus.
Sí, sí, me trago así, vale.
Espérate, te voy a enseñar.
Vale, como tienen, claro, tienen una fara para mis cosas.
All right. Containing the body. Oh. Okay, so it's a readable stream. So actually, we need to know body. Get reader pipe to. New readable stream start. Response. Okay, so fetch response. Response body get reader. Turn new. Well, that's making a new response. Reader.read then. So this is a response. Response.body.getReader.read.then. Handles each data chunk. So this I'm sure allows for like streaming responses, which is probably more efficient. But this is not a simple just get a response API. And there's no example that's like, just give me the contents. Well, yeah, response at the JSON method. Well, no. What had the JSON method? Body. Oh, okay, so text. Response.body.text is not a. Okay. Undefined. Body mixin. Oh, is it not actually on body? Body mixin of the fetch API. Body.text. There's a blob. And blob is supposed to be at the same level as this. Fetch, then blob. Body readable stream. Text is a function on response. Which is a promise. Maybe? Okay. So then it is show raw output or format not equal to SVG. Render SVG element. Text element, which gets down to how you render. There might also be a thing in usage. Just append child. We're only got one right now. Is.render SVG element is another promise. So I think if you return a promise, it kind of chains. So you can kind of stack them up. Yeah, because it's the chain. So then this gives you an element. Okay. So we got an SVG element. I must have misread document.body.append child. We didn't really deal with errors. But we got an SVG element. Oh. Oh, okay. It's just a very, very large SVG element. Huh. I thought this was a... Oh, okay. So it's just, yeah. Okay. Now this is where we need that zoom control. I'm not sure what that was for. Canvas, I think. I mean, it's probably fine for this. I often like to have the expanded ones in development. CG pan zoom dot min. Pan zoom, SVG pan zoom, SVG element. So can we it does seem a little bit smaller. This might be the default size. There might be no like size restriction on it right now. Okay, and then we can pass this stuff. Contain false. Pan enabled. I think we need to have something that more layers, we only want to pan zoom one of them. To fit and center. So I think I saw something on the parent of this. Panes editor graph. Yeah, so this must be the split thing. So we actually want to do something like I should probably do better styles, but it's a start. Not width. Style. And really, it should probably be height too. That's about what they had. And then we need document dot find element by ID. Okay. Is it just find by ID? No. Okay, how about body dot? Get element by ID. Okay, so the width, maybe the body needs to have a width as well. It don't seem to care. Display flex, box sizing, overflow, X. So body has nothing, app has width and height, position, height float. Hmm. Oh, that format's a bit better. Pen child, pan zoom, zoom enabled, control icons enabled, fit true, center true, and there's that min zoom. Pane resize. Oh, resize. I might have to pay attention to that. Okay, so we've got buttons, but we're not constrained. Do I have to just say no? So how does that even work? So there's body. There's graph, and SVG don't care. This could be in the style sheets as well. Or it could be something the split is doing. What are you doing to contain this? Well, how about we get you out of here? Because we've got an SVG element. Well, maybe the SVG itself is not contained? That looks pretty similar to me. Because in theory, an SVG should be acting just like any old image. Now, I might have to apply some stuff directly to it. So sure, let's just go ahead and do a style sheet. Alright, so we've been playing around with some body stuff. And this is just to see it do something. And then we've got graph. Does your positioning have to be absolute as well? Oh, maybe there's some style sheets applied to all SVG. I don't think I saw anything. Yeah, so it's still gigantic. Okay, so we do have to do that. And something has to contain it. Okay, so if you don't give it a size, and it's just 100% of nothing. Okay, so that's, we basically lost the scroll bar. Yep, and then you have to do that. And then you have to do that. Nope, somebody else is giving us the scroll bars here. Alright, so it has to be fully contained, and then now, do I need all of these? I think that moved my corner, yeah. But I might not need that. All right, so given a file, we can render it. So in order to do all right, now well, it's a proof of concept for the libraries. Now, zoom enabled, control icons, fit true, center true, min zoom. I think is where I ran into trouble on boots. Yeah. Oh no, this is max zoom, I guess. Does it say like defaulted to 5 or something? Maybe it's not max zoom. Max zoom. Oh, that's already 10. Wow. Well, this is probably as big as the trees are going to get. And of course we can get a bigger window. Oh. We need to handle that resize event. Container resizes. Cache size, position controls. Update SVG viewport. Oh, this is like just a simple demo. Window.onload. Only listen to one function. Right. They're also relying on jQuery to do the add listener. If we put Elm around this, we're gonna have to like get the resize event and then call a port to pass it down. And then the min zoom. We really need mid zoom if we're fit. Alright, so that is cute, but takes a little longer to render. And let's zoom in a little bit, but I don't think we really need more than 100%, except maybe for, well, maybe some positioning things. So even without getting fancy, how easy would it be now this is local reference. Which makes this a little bit easier. I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, because I'd have to figure out how I want to do escaping. Location.query. Maybe I need to reload with that. Location.query undefined. Maybe, do you not possibly get location and file URLs? Or maybe it's not query. No, it's search. Okay. And the only problem is, what if we actually went to Andy Biciabeno? Something like that? Thanks for following. Posted. This will be an older one. Because I had those are the SVGs, and I think later I posted the graphviz file. Yeah. Now that's not properly, yeah, that's not properly encoded. Maybe the browser's doing it for us. But if it was an actual link somewhere, it probably should be URL encoded. Is there a encode URI? What's the difference between encode URI and encode URI component? Code's a well, so it isn't a URI. What's the difference with certain characters. Form fields. Does not encode query, string, or hash values. Codes the entire string. Encodes URI, ignores the protocol prefix. Domain-related roots. Still not real clear. Probably component. Because it's a complete URL. So arguably, if we were actually sharing a link to something, it would go like that. And then we'd get that, and then, well, we'd have to do a bunch of stuff, which maybe, maybe I should just consider this the proof of concept and not worry about that. Oh, I've got... Right. So it's saying all of that, then my other just junk stuff. Alright, put the elm there, you don't really need it. Here, proof of concept, EV web viewer. So just being able to have a thing that you could effectively link to a file if you published it somewhere might be useful. That's where it might actually want to... Sometimes I just don't hit save. Now, is that impacting this at all? I don't think so. And there's the resize events. So... do we have... Right. That was that other project. That didn't turn out to be the one they published. So something that gives us our basic setup here. I tend to just expose everything here, even though you probably only need like a root function or two. And we're going to need browser. Probably browser.dom. We're going to need HTTP if we're going to have it take over the fetching. And I'm probably going to need the URL parser stuff. I'm going to pick stuff out of it. Elm app is going to need a type message, which we have none right now. It's main equals browser dot document. Although I never did get, I know at that time I was thinking about, I forget what, there was another version of the Elm startup that, oh yeah, right, the way Elm takes over the URLs I don't always like. View.document. So, interesting thing. That renders to an element type. I don't know if there's any way to put that into an Elm UI, so I might just have to have some ID'd thing. Or alternately, we could see about making a little web component out of viz.js and just hand it the graphviz. And in fact, this did grab the URL. Right, because there's the whole app that takes over routing and stuff. And now you were extracting a particular thing from it. We are going to be looking for a graphviz. Well, no, not that graphviz. It's a target document, which will probably end up being part of our state. Why are you indented weird? Right, so actually, if we plan, you'll be in and then update's going to be kind of nothing right now. Case message. Right now we have none, which is just a model command.none. And I think we need a subscriptions as a placeholder. Oh, interesting. I mean, we usually format it like this. And sub.batch could be a little bit of setup, but let me start adding resize events and things. Oh, this was extract hash argument. I mean, putting it on hash instead of question mark is probably valid here. So let's update our sample page. It is technically intended for the front end. All right, now we're going to need at least a dummy view, and that might eventually have some more stuff to it. You'll eventually have a probably eventually have some events. Which project did I use the Elm UI on? I know I converted one of them. Yeah, you. Oh, I still needed a couple of these things, but... What was background? Background.color. Font.color, font.size, font.family. We might not need those right away. And I think that there was some sort of escape in that. All right, so this is pretty much boilerplate. Oh, I guess I had to do an outer HTML to get my style in there. How do they normally recommend starting up? So main element.layout. Attributes and isn't there like an element.none? And then we'll kind of see what we get. Yeah. Now, this is going to tend to take over the body. So we're going to have to figure out how we hook stuff in here. Okay, we're going to have to get this compiling. Oh, we have to install a bunch of stuff first. I suspect Elm browsers are already in there. I think we're going to need HTTP. Just needs a bunch of stuff. And we can probably figure out the rest as we go. So if we do... we should probably just copy copy that over. Family tree browser. Oh, I was doing dashing before. Family tree browser. Oh, not browser. I mean, it's sort of browser. Cannot find... Elm.json. Elm URL. Oh, it's still... Okay, yeah, it's probably where import the... Right, so I may have to do some other additional setup here. Because you usually end up with some sort of UI stuff. And we next do our import view. So instead of none, we have UI view.message and UI view.none. I copied some code. That was doing fancy pants stuff. There was there were some updates we wanted to do every time something may have changed. No, it's a command with my message type. Document needs the first argument to be, all right. Subscriptions model. Argument, string to model command message. Oh, I'm going to have to update, let's see, I was borrowing that. I don't know from which app. So you are knit with nothing. We still have with flags as right, we were grabbing it and replacing it. So this won't actually affect the compilation, but we do need to clean it up. Oh, and there's that, but it's not here. It's not href. It is window.location. But what is our actual error here? Model browser document message. Tagger model. A B to body title. It wants model to browser document message. Oh, is this possibly not the document thing we need from the appropriate type of app? No, yeah, with stream credits. Now, this was wrapping an HTML div around the entire thing, which might be required to do the HTML map on it. Okay, so that maps that. But it's not saying there's anything wrong with the view itself. Oh, wait. 2 of 2. 1 of 1. First argument to document. Browser dot. Oh, it's a record, so it's the entire thing. So flags is open to be anything, so string should be fine. We're being a very specific model and a very specific message. Very specific model, very specific message. Specific model, specific model. Model message. So it seems to be the view component. So we need to know more about what a browser.document message is, apparently. So sandbox element view document message is a title, and it's a list of HTML message. Oh, maybe we need to, maybe there's at some top level thing where you actually render an element to a HTML. Or maybe that's better described in the top level stuff. Well, it just says my row of stuff, element.layout. Which is used just fine in an HTML. Well, this is HTML.map. I might need to do. Oop, wrong window. Might need to do element.map though. Elm is not defined. Oh, right. We're looking at our compiler first. The view call produces HTML message. Oh, so layout. Returns an HTML message. Can turn an element into HTML. Okay. So now it should be HTML.map. So that means an empty list should be valid. Record of type view B. Well, it probably has no information about what a model is. So B is fine. Body, list C, title, string. Okay. View is right now an empty record, which is model. To a document message. So let's see why. No, it's not document. This is. Well, it also lets you do this. So view is to an HTML message. Oh, but the type of view, or document rather, depends on the tagger, which is a function of message to message and a model to a browser.document message. I think that was an old message because I fixed that. So now it's all complaining about init. And the fact that we have very specific messages and models. Well, and the specifying model is a all right, well, that leaves us with flags. Right, that was a multi-line thing. You have to define something. Okay, flags, model, command message, model submessage, message model, model command message, model browser document. Oh, jeez. It needs to be, yeah. Field also has to be subscriptions. Wants an unspecified type. Ah. Yep. Alright, so now we can have that back, can have that back, can have that back. We can have that back. So apparently you can't actually specify this as... Well, no, as soon as I start using model in here, it's going to throw a fit. Yep, document get element by any is null. So this does allow attributes. Is there an elementy way to do classes? Device class. Oh, no, you actually... Your ID is that you do not put things in styles. Yeah, that's not terribly useful. What do I want? Is it attributes? Yes. Oh, is it like element.attribute? What's an attribute? An attribute that can be attached to an element. I might need a thing to import HTML. Alright, I'm going to take a short break and address that in a minute. Oh man, yeah, that's totally overlapped. No clue which is which. And with only controller for precision. We did it! There we go. It's a landing pad.
Yeah, you can't get me up there, can you? Yeah, no, you can't. Really? Come on, guys. Just one. There we go. Proud of you. Hold on 1 second. I want to learn.
Yeah, it's basically World War I with Canada.
And we're gonna want to get into this iron. Alright, so we'll do a little bit of this and that, and some of that. Oh wow, those guys are quick to get in there.
And I still gotta get a boar. Hey, Chibi! Hi! Let's go to the inn and rest. Oh crap.
Sports, talented with the arts, she was a tragic heroine who died at 18. When did she die? Like 25 years ago. There was a student named Aya that went here 15 years ago, wasn't there? Who knows? I'm busy. Just get out of here. Yeah, fine. I leave the school. Granted, he wouldn't know anyway, because teachers have to move schools every 5 years. I wore myself out walking.
Welcome back. So how the heck... I mean, there has to be something. Hey, Daniel Smith. How's it going? How the heck do we import a HTML? Well, I could just wrap a layout produces HTML, so I could do the same thing I did before and just wrap an element around it. HTML attribute. So HTML attributes. HTML attribute. Okay, now that completely is going to remove everything that Elm was doing, so we should probably actually have a sub-element for that instead of the entire layout. So right now we've got element none. I think that's going to be our top level thing. Ah, thank you. Yeah, I've forgotten most of what I've done, but it seems to work out pretty well. Layout, and then this needs to be a what? What is your basic dummy element? A none is just an element that has no room for attributes. It's an L. And actually, I shouldn't even need element on these, sort of being explicit. That's not going to match. It's not going to work. So we need an L with this stuff. And probably something like that to sort out the priorities. And I was going to do resize events once I had the basic Elm sketch working. So that does a bit of a Elm wrapper around it. Oh. Okay, so that wasn't resize. That was actually... It's putting... So, yeah, I probably need to do some stuff with the spacing here. Ooh. So that's only as big as the image needs to be. I just happened to have the window that was that size before. Okay. Oh, now I did remove some style attributes. And I've introduced some extra layers of things. I guess I'm not really using a reactor right now. We need PWD UI. Elm stuff. Git add bin, git add, oh geez, right, because we just added Elm. We do not need UI public family tree viewer.js. Rough Elm wrapper. Alright, so now what? Okay, so there's all the SVG stuff. So we've got graph SVG. There is an extra div in here. It would be somewhat disappointing if I had the style stuff all the way down. We'll test this real quick. Okay, that's not sufficient. Oh, here we've got sizing stuff. Okay, so your content is full height. Div ID graph. Width 100, height 100. Okay, so that's being removed. So LMUI added a bunch of junk to this. I might actually just want to insert an HTML div here. Because there's like a lot of junk being put on. So this would be... and list of content none. No, now it's HTML.attributes. One argument. No. So div graph still gets a bunch of inherited stuff. Inherited from div. Why? So I thought I had this worked out, but that was before I got the Elm stuff involved. Could we... You know what? It's probably pushed off the bottom now because we told everything else to be full size. took this out. Yeah. The controls are totally, well, reload doesn't help. So what? What is going on here? So we've got a full height div. Then this is not... Ah, you know what? That was something that like kind of didn't get saved at one time. So apparently that's actually necessary. Okay, so there's that, and the other thing I wanted to hook up was... Do you handle resize? No. How about browser? On resize... where I've dealt with this before, there's actually been 2 events, but one of them is for startup. And the library can sort of handle itself on startup. But right now, this is not super graceful. Resize. I could probably clean up some tabs. So we've got viz, example, we've got... Oh, we need that. Usage. Viz UI didn't really use. There's a reference to that in the other thing. We're done with you. We've got that. We're done with that. Probably done with that. And this takes 2 ints. I don't know that we need to keep this in the model. Well, you know what? Actually, what we're trying to do is get to the point where we can parse this stuff. So... well, that's a target document, a target URL, hopefully. Which actually means we can't really do anything here except maybe show it. And I mostly just work with existing versions of HTTP. So this should be a straight up get. Target URL, it probably has to be a maybe, yeah. So this is actually a maybe.map. Yeah. URL, target URL, expect http.expect string, and oh, now I need this event. And this is going to be a result, http.error or a string. And our update function has to handle that. So usually I do OK text and graph text, error, bug.log, fetch, graph failed. And if it's text, then we have to get into our port stuff. Too many commas. Now the other option would be to componentify or other thing, but that's also going to be an adventure of itself. We must have bungled, yes, our bracket somewhere. Oh, because we have that URL. Well, I don't need to use this twice. In this case. Oh, and I was using it down here anyway. Xtext string. Maybe. One of my favorite words. Oh, shoot. We did a maybe. The argument is command message. Right. You map the value. I thought with default kind of unwrapped the value. Oh. Brackets. So all that's going to do is fetch it twice. So for Bootstrap, I don't like making me a port module. Port module viz exposing something to be determined. Okay, so you had a very rich API. We really just need our ports kinda here. Port. And WebSocket. Yeah, then you subscribe to it. So instead of doing this, it is if app.ports.render. It should really be something more. App.ports.render graphviz.subscribe. And you are still going to be a promise chain. Ooh, now, yeah, this does not have like error checking or cleanup if we replace the element. How's our compiler feeling? Oh, we haven't imported this yet. And then viz. Actual type signature syntax with the colon would be nice. Okay, and then family tree viewer. So if we get text, we can now I didn't really deal with the argument there, did I? Subscribe to function. And that's just in the HTML. Okay, so possibly I might need to do some decoding here. I forgot about dealing with that. So we need to get our target URL. Debug.log. Well, actually in here it'd work too. Okay, so that failed. Okay, so we got this. Did I actually get around to updating this to hash format? Yes. So href is fine. URL for, ooh. That's telling me that the from string failed. Alright, let me just put that aside. So I had at one point had the non-encoded version of this. It's encoded, but question mark. It's question mark with the other URL in it. Are we passing what we think we're passing in here? No, because we did see we're getting the string. So URL, oh, that's right. URL from string doesn't work on this. Seems like I had something. So instead of the full href, I don't need to generate OAuth redirects with this. So instead of passing href, what we need to pass is, well, href it can't parse, so it has to be hash. So to parse that, we need something like, and now I need to know what all of these parts are. There's percent code and percent decode. Okay, URL. Protocol, host, port, path, query fragment. So I guess you call it fragment. Yes, there's no from string in here. That's just it. Oh, and actually, we're putting it... Oh, I need to remove the hash from it? If we're going to stick it into a fragment... which gets down to core string operations. Take a substring given a start and end index. Negatives are taken from the end of the list. But you can't do drop end characters from such and such. Oh, you were a maybe. Target URL and oops, we had a little error somewhere in our history here. And it seems to have already decoded it for us. Fetch graph failed network error. $200 okay. But I wanted to use an actual online file, and it gets called cross-origin. Well, we know that it works. We just have to run a local server to actually fetch a file. And then you don't have an argument. So for you, it actually is a local file, but it probably wouldn't hurt to do a realistic thing. That's the easy one to type. Target URL. Syntax error. What? Well, what are we sending over here? Wait, what? Wait, what? Are you complaining about a syntax error in the JavaScript? This is where we moved over to this server. What? Why did running a server cause a syntax error? I must have bumped the file somehow? Doesn't show different. No, instance call. Or did I bump my file contents somewhere? Because I was... line 1. Because this was working just fine. What did I change? Oh, that's right, I changed, and here I didn't think I need the file anymore. What the heck? The behavior changes because of how it's... The ability to parse changes because of how it's loaded? What? Alright, is this a result of trying to render or just trying to load the file? It's a result of trying to render, so it's being reported by the engine. What are you doing? I'm sure it's trying to be helpful. Large files corrupted. Images aren't served. Alright, so Elm Reactor has really just been a server for me. I'd swear at some point I got another small dev server, but I forgot what it was. Was it like Mongoose? Okay, so it's somewhere, and it serves itself. That's not super useful. And I can't exit it? Okay, Oh, it goes to tray. Maybe that wasn't what I was... Maybe I found more than one? Okay. I would like one that would just do current folder, but nope, that doesn't do it either. Apparently we need full working path, which is going to be messed up because we're in this environment. Maybe it would be able to figure out current directory better? In a regular command window? Which Windows doesn't like to give you anymore. I think it's documents. There we go. Oh, right, just wrong slash. Oh, or maybe I was putting a unnecessary slash in there. All right, so if we can go, if you can serve it just fine. Okay. Right, and then we have to get public. Right, so just a server test. And we blew out all of our, no. No, that was a public URL, which it's not going to like. So I have, in fact, destroyed my hash. All right, this is the easy one to type. And we're not doing URL detection right now. All right, and then a little bit easier to render. All right, console.log. Debug.log. Wait, what are we rendering off of then? Okay. Oh, I forgot the in, so this wasn't even trying. And I had that, and then target URL. Okay, so given a file that's posted somewhere, we have something that can render it. Well, no, only if the server allows cross-origin. Well, eventually we want to get this so that we're serving these up dynamically. And in order to do that, I need to sort out... Well, I might be able to do a simpler proof of concept. Or I said, well, if we know some particular feature, we can only search in the last few days. I could even have it do the my past week thing, assuming you know a player's hash. Well, that gives you multiple results. We would have to like be able to specify like a server and a ID. And then you'd have to deal with all the searching and historical views with the ID resets. You know, I might want something that could do in a cloud environment so I don't have to worry about running a server all the time. So this could run if I posted files to the same server. It's not the way to get links to them. Of course, So the whole graphviz thing is compiling to SVG. And just really the problem is that browser SVG viewers don't really give you any of this stuff. So maybe I should just have it produce SVG files. Alternately, there was the whole browser-based layout thing. So I could just give it a bunch of connections. Alright, well that's a piece. One way or another, I'm going to have some way to search the database. And, well, that means I'm going to have an actual database. Right now it's just loading the files on demand. Which is one of those problems that's annoying enough I just keep avoiding it. So for local processing, we could do like an SQLite or something. If it's something we want to be able to run online, that might not be a good option. Oh, view. Now, from parameter, and then that's it for now. Let's see. So we got that. We've got. Thanks for all the hosts. Don't have anything to recommend myself. And I am normally on at about these times. What do we got? Looks like there's some Satisfactory going on. That's something I need to check out sometime. There's a place cool to hang out. Twisted Chris is someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye and until next time.